So Kubernetes is pretty vast one, and I think if I see better way, next 10 years you need to spend time with Kubernetes only, no matter what kind of role you are playing. If you are a manager, if you are a engineer, if you are a DevOps, you are a SRE, you are a development, you are a QA, what kind of role you are having, no matter, but you all are going to spend time with Kubernetes. That is something which we have to accept the facts. So the first thing is we are going to discuss what is Kubernetes. What is Kubernetes? Now, when I say Kubernetes is a orchestration tool. Okay. Now, when I say orchestration means what? It's not a tool, I must say it's a platform. There's a difference between tools and platform. So it's an orchestration platform. So if I ask you, if you want to understand what is Kubernetes, what is AWS? So AWS is also orchestration platform, but for what? For VMs. Okay. So VMs you get it, virtual machines, right? And then you get storage also. I mean, I'll put it in this way: VMs mean compute, right? You get a compute, you get what? You get storage, right? You get networking, right? You get security services, you get load balancers, auto scaling group, domains, and stuff like that. Correct now? All of you? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
I'm
Rajesh.
audible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you get all this. Why you get all these things? Because you can run your production environment very efficiently. You don't have to go anywhere. So you should take the Kubernetes in the same way. It's an orchestration platform where you get compute, you get storage, you get networking, you get load balancer, you get DNS, and you get ASG, I mean scaling group also. But all this thing AWS provide for what? If you understand this, around the VM worlds, virtual machines, whatever it is. Here in Kubernetes, it all this everything, this functionality which you see is provided under the container, but actually in Kubernetes we call it a pod. Correlate this. So Kubernetes is a orchestration platform for the pods, for the containers. You may think why we need Kubernetes. I know Docker, so why do we need a Kubernetes? So understand that Kubernetes basically why you need it, because you want to manage the container environment at the large scale. See, the problem with the Docker is Docker can manage. You see, Docker you install the VMs and that Docker can manage only the containers of that particular VM. But you want to run containers in thousands of VM, thousands of VM. So who will manage it? Simple. Who will manage it? You need a certain orchestration tool. For example, if you want to run one VM, then you can run in your laptop only. Why you need a AWS? Simple logic. But when you need a thousands of VM, you need a load balancers, you need a network, you need a storage, you need a many other services. Then you go for AWS, right? So same way, you want to run one container or five containers, you can run in your laptop only. There's no problem. But now we want to run thousands and thousands of containers in hundreds in node. Then you need the Kubernetes. So that's the reason we call it Kubernetes a container orchestrator tool. Are you understanding, all of you? All of you?
Yes, Rajesh, got it.
So yeah, it's a free. It's written in Go language and the managed by TNCF and donated by Google. Okay, donated by Google. So now, if I want to say in this way, everyone is running that in Kubernetes only. There's no alternative for Kubernetes. So you should not think even about that alternative. Everyone is running on the Kubernetes. Now the question is how Kubernetes works. How Kubernetes works.
But what
So
about
basically,
manage? If
which
there is
one?
no alternative for Kubernetes K8, then manage GKE.
Okay. So managed GKE, I'll just talk about in this session only. I'll talk about how KEBs work. Okay. So here we have a human. Okay, this is the one, and this guy send the request to the master server. We call it control plane. Okay, this is the VM actually. Control plane is one VM. This is a VM, and then control plane manage the workers. This is the architecture. These are also VMs. Okay, so this is the architecture. So now here, this is your laptop. When I say human, that means that's a laptop. We call it workstation. You can call it workstation also, from where you send the instruction to control plane. And control plane send the instruction to worker. Okay. So this is the architecture. Now, if I say in the workstation what you have to do. So you have to install one utility, which I'll teach you, kubectl. Okay. Now, in the control plane, which is the VM, what you need to keep it. So you have to keep the four software. One software which is API server. Okay, don't worry, just you need to know the name of it. Why? Because all this thing will be installed automatically. etcd, controller manager, controller manager, and next one scheduler. Okay, and there's one more proxy and all. Now these are the applications has to be installed in the control plane. Some tools has to be there here. One is like a kubectl, another one is kubelet, another one is docker, another one is containerd. Some of the CNI and all, it has to be there. Now, as part of the worker, what you need to be there? Worker, you need to keep it proxy, and these tools will remain same in the each server. Okay. So these are the components. So these are the tools. These are the application has to be installed in the control plane to act like a control plane and worker. Okay. So now API server, etcd, controller manager, scheduler, and proxy. These are the applications out of which this one is receiving point. So now let me show you one architecture. One simple image will work for it. Kubernetes architecture. Okay. And go for one images here. And I think this is good. Okay. Now this is not good so far. Patrick, you are able to hear me? Hello? I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the architecture. Okay. Same thing which I put it in the notepad, but image visualizations will be better. So let's spend some time here understanding the flow of it. So if you see that very simple way, understand this way. This is you, and this is what I was trying to say workstation. You can call it laptop. And the laptop, what you have? kubectl. So that means it's a client. And then you connect through API server. Look at this. This is the whole things you see is a master node control plane. We can call it control plane or master node. Both are same. Okay, don't get confused. And this is the worker node. You may have a multiple worker node, hundreds and hundreds of worker node. Okay, hundreds of worker node. Now you see that this using kubectl, the one which I said here, you send the instruction to the API server. So API server is like a receiving. I mean, it's like a receiving all the request. So now what happens? API server stored that in the etcd. This is the etcd cluster. What is etcd? It's a database. I mean, new generation of database. You can put it up based on the key and value, architecture, distributed one. Now this is also managed by CNCF. And there is a two software we have, controller and scheduler. Controller basically you can say is like keep updating the clusters, and scheduler schedule the work to the worker. Okay, in a simple way I'm putting up. Now here, if you look at this here, I said in the master node, aka master, in the master node, you have a kubectl, kubelet, docker, containerd. These are the tools actually. In this image is not been shown, but it actually is there. Okay, in this image. But now you see API server. This is a worker machine. An API server, they talk to the kubelet, and here you have a CNI Docker, and then proxy. Here you have, see here, proxy you have here, kubelet you have here, Docker, and all the stuff are here. Most important thing is this one. What is this? Pod. Inside the pod, what you have? Container. Okay. Here you have a same
And
architecture.
what is the purpose of key value store?
This
Is
is the
it of any?
database.
Okay,
Huh.
okay.
Let's put it in this way. See, anything you run, any software you run, you need certain data to be persisted, right? That means in a Kubernetes, what is deployed, what is the state of the deployment, what is not deployed. So everything has to be stored somewhere, right? So you send the
Hmm.
instruction, but you don't have a memory, right? This software should be having memories, right? So where we should store? So here, this is the etc. This is a kind of database, which is the it's like MongoDB key and value pair kind of things. Same, something similar. We have a etcd, but this is managed by CNCF itself. It's a CNCF product.
Hmm.
Okay. So now if you see that here, there's a pod and here containers are running. So this is you admin will deploy the application to the Kubernetes. You send the instruction to this API server. API server is stored in the etcd, and then controller will update API server saying that hey, we don't have this deployment. Then API server will ask scheduler, hey scheduler, can you go schedule this work to the kubelet, different uh, kubelet worker, and kubelet again internally instantiate a pod. Mind it, kubelet instantiate a pod, and Docker will fill the container. Nowadays container D, and proxy will provide the network. This is a network service. Okay, proxy is the networking services. Okay, and then pod is running. Now pod is running, containers is running in the clusters in the worker machine. So how can you access? This is the end user for your applications. So they will access through the proxy. This is a very simple image. I will little bit elaborate this one in a future session. Okay, so more or less this is the architecture. So if someone asks you at a high level, hey, what is architecture? You say we have workstation, we have a master server, we have a worker server. Master servers, we have a primarily these are the components and these are the tools. Worker server, this is the application running and these are the tools. Tools is same for worker and master. Only the applications which is important for the master is this one, and this proxy server services has to be running in everything. Are you clear, all of you?
Yeah.
All of you? Okay. Now, so now if someone asks a question, it is free. So what is a managed one? Correct now? So understand this way. Understand this way. In this whole architecture, you have to set up a master server and then you have to set up a worker server. Agree with me? Correct? Hello? Yeah,
Yeah.
let's be interactive because I feel better. Okay, so now the question is what is a managed one? So guys, the question is, see, who will manage this one? That is important, crucial part of your architecture. Who will manage this one? So if you say you will manage this master server, manage means what? Make sure highly available because this is has to be highly available, right? Backup you have to have it. You have to do upgrade. You have to do the patching. Load you have to balance it out. All this thing has to be taken. Admin activity. Who will do that? So if you say no, I'll take care of it. That means the self-managed. But you say no, I don't want to manage. I want to focus on the this pod and all services and all. Focus on the delivery for the client. Then someone has to manage. So AWS is coming and saying, hey, don't worry about this. We will manage. AKS is Azure services. EKS is AWS services. GKE is Google services. They are coming up and saying that don't worry, we will manage this cluster for you. I will take care of the backups, security, high availability, everything. Just pay a little bit of money, we'll manage, and then you keep adding. You focus on the node. You add the node, and rest of the things should be okay. So now you understand. Someone had asked this question: what is a
Yes.
self-managed?
Yes. It's clear. Thanks.
Okay, so now this is the architecture. Now, guys, once you have to set up a cluster, okay. So first, let me set up a cluster. So now, guys, setting up this cluster in Kubernetes, you can do through hundreds of ways. Okay, but conceptually, no matter which method you follow, you will get the same thing. Okay, so I want to set up a master, I want to set up a worker, I want to set up a workstation, and all stuff like that. Okay, so what to do? So now let's get the demo started. So what I'm going to do, let me get a two VMs because for the demo I need it, right? So here I have one VM already, and one VM I'm going to create it. So let me create one more VM. This I'll make it worker, okay? Worker. And then Ubuntu. Master I'm having already, worker. And I'm going for medium worker. Key pair, 30 GB is sufficient for worker, one machine. And so guys, here I have got two machines. One is this one is this one. Okay. So now, how do we set up this master and worker? So let me ask you to come to Kubernetes cluster setup, cluster setup, DevOps code. Okay. So many tutorials are there, and I want you to follow this one. Okay. I mean, I have tens of different architect means tutorial, but this is something which I want to you to follow because I'm using Ubuntu 20, right? If you use CentOS, steps will be different, Ubuntu will be different, AWS will be different, EKS will be different, GK. Ultimately, you get everything same, but the instructions are different. Okay. So now this script, the one which you see, this script which will set up a master server in the master machine, and one more script will be there which is a worker server. This will set up worker server. Now here I have put it up everything in a one script, but if you look at the script you have hundreds of instructions over there. So I'm assuming you all are good in shell scripting now. So you can go through this. It's your learning process. You should know actually what steps we do in order to install the master, what steps we do in order to install the worker. You must, go through this. But right now, because I just want to set up a cluster in the fastest way, this script will help me. Okay. So now can we get started? So I'm going to set up this cluster. Any questions, Patrick?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so now here, which I'm going to create one directory, KS, and this is the master server. This is going to be master server. Please remember that. So what I will do, I am going to clone this repository. Done. Now go inside this and cluster setup, and you'll see latest. Done. Okay. Now guys, here there is a two script. Okay, one will be setting up the master, one will be setting up the worker. By the way, let me tell you here, please understand this way. If you see that kubectl which you required in the workstation, and this kubectl you have in the master also, and in fact worker also, correct now? So the question is, can we configure, can we make the workstation master itself? So that way two machines will be sufficient for us. That means this VM I'm going to use as a workstation and master also. Because ultimately the traffic, see, this kubectl will make a call to API server, and that means this kubectl will make a call to API server. I can be in the same machine. We don't need the third machine. Can we do that? All of you understanding this? All of you?
Can you please repeat?
What I say, look at this kubectl, which has to be your workstation. We have a kubectl anyways here in the master server and worker server. So one of these machines can be make the workstation. So here I am making a master itself as a workstation. Got it?
Hmm.
Same. So that's what. So two machine is sufficient. One for master and workstation, another one for worker. So now let me show you. So here, this script which I'm going to run, this will do two things. Remember, this script will do set up a server, master control plane, and then workstation as well. Configure the kubectl as well, kubeconfig. Okay, so can I give the permission for this file? Install master, and then run this command. Now your job again, I must remind you, your job to go through line by line that file and understand what is happening, because it's a pretty lengthy process. I put it in a script so we should not miss anything, and because troubleshooting is a really headache. So that way. So it will do hell lot of things actually, more than 15, 20 things. You know.
There seem to be some errors, Rajesh.
Here, these commands are not found. So basically, they will update it. Means they will try to install the utility, but update will happen automatically. And then here it has happened. And then now they will install it. So it will take care of it. See, update is happening. Okay, there's some problem here. And I see that. Okay, so there's some problem has happened in this machine. Uh, okay, let me check that whether it's a 20.x or not, because I just want to make sure that. So I forgot the command to check Ubuntu version. Command to check Ubuntu version, and that is this one. And 20.x. So correct. The version is correct. I'm going to run one more time the script, and okay, so there's a problem here. The problem is some of the registries are not found. So okay, so this error, let me try to fix it. Because if even though if you go for the new machines, it will be same error. So and okay, so let me add this, and second, let me update this. Security settings nowadays is a problem. No. So now which one to delete uh, based on the error? Focal Kubernetes Genial. Let me delete the Kubernetes Genial. These are the registries for Ubuntu. Let me pause the recording so at least
This conference will now be recorded.
okay, so the problem still persists actually. Updating from the such repository can't be done securely. It's therefore disabled by default. So manage repository creation and configurations. Hold on a second. and it's same or something different. Okay. Okay, so what is the problem? I'll tell you. So here you see the difference, HTTP, and because of security implementation, they're saying, hey, try HTTPS. So let me delete this guy and save it. Now this should fix that issues. And after that, because HTTPS, you have to download this one also, and finally update. So now it should work. No, still not working. Uh, Let me pause this recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
So what I did, I started the new machines instead of the old machines and hoping it should solve the problem of the security check. Why? Because in the last machine, maybe the some of the old configurations is violating. So let's see if this is solving our problem. So far so good. So last demo which I was using is one of the my old machines where I have done okay. So this issue is persistent across these machines. So now we need to fix this. This is a new machine. So here they're saying modify this file, find the lines or this one, correct the repository URL to let me check this file. BI here is HTTP. That is the problem it says. And they say it to be HTTPS. But I made it, and after that this is GPG key and update, and after that you can install it, but it's not working. Let me try one more time. Hopefully if it is working, that's super. I deleted the line. Yes, save it, and after that GPG key downloaded from the registry HTTPS and okay, and update. If update is working, then if we are good, but it's not working at all. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the Google searches for this issues. Now here, this problem has been slashed mkd here. Okay, so they're saying add most of the repository pp's are source lists are no longer available, and though throwing error, I would recommend restoring the default repository. So go to this. This is the one. This is not, no, this is not a fix for me for Kubernetes. Okay, so what I'm doing right now in order to avoid the demo, I'm going for the hosted one. So hosted one means, just a second, hold on. Last try. Hmm. Let me pause the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so here, what we have decided, we will go for hosted one, but that also required 1 hour actually. So I'm just thinking, how can we do the things faster? So just thinking. Okay, so okay, guys. So now let's do one thing. I'm going to install cluster using the different method, and that is called Rancher Desktop. Okay, this is your developer setup. That is one of the fastest way I think we can get it done. So ultimately, you have to get the clusters, same cluster which I've been discussing. But how do we get it? There's a tens of ways are there, and because I have lost some time, I want to quickly set up a clusters and start the real topic. Okay. Now, what is the problem here? In this problem, the problem has they have enabled some of the security. I mean, it's not a platform issue. It's not Ubuntu issues. It is their issues. That means the repository which they are having, they changed it, some configurations, and for that we have to do some workaround. Now, what workaround? We need to check the Google properly and then follow that. But right now, we'll not waste time looking out the solutions for it. So what I did, I installed the Rancher desktop in my laptop. I'm installing it. It will take 5 to 10 minutes to get up your cluster done. But the only problem which with this cluster is it will be one node clusters. What is a one node cluster? Any idea? What is a one node cluster? Hello, are you there?
Yeah, it's a single node having both master and the worker, right? That's what it is.
Wonderful. Yes. Yes. So that is the limitations we'll be having, but that's okay. For learning Kubernetes, all the main topics, that is more than needed. Most of the developers, they install the Rancher desktop and they use it. Almost done. And I'm going to install this. Accept next. Now install for all user for this machine or only for the current user? All is okay. Install it. Yes. Okay. So guys, done. I'm going to run this. So my cluster is ready now. Okay. And now we will start showing you the demo. So just give me 2 seconds. Rancher desktop. Let me log in. Here it is. So now which version of, here they're asking you, which version of Kubernetes you want. And see, understand this. You want Kubernetes, which version? So latest stable is to 1.29. And here, container engine, you want container D or Docker D. So Docker D, they use with a Moby. Okay, remember that Moby. And container D is the recommended one. So you can go for container D and click OK, which is the default. and done. So here it is. So now guys, this is your desktop. Now welcome to da. So still that you see the downside, initializing is happening. It will take few minutes. Downside, look at the downside, that status bar, downloading Kubernetes components. So it's setting up everything for you. So this is a, I when I started Kubernetes, I used to use it Minikube, but from last 2 years, I realized this is good for the developers compared to Minikube. But there are more than 40 methods are available. Using that, you can set up a cluster. Okay. Now you can have good for the managed one also, like EKS, AKS, and all, but that required lots of other bandwidth also and infrastructure cost also. So this is sufficient for us. Yeah. So here there's a problem in this also. Errors exited with code, did not find a valid mount. Says this runs on WSL. But there's some error actually. I'm trying all the quick fixes because this setup is also having some problem. trying to reset the Kubernetes and see if it is successful. You can see the status in the bottom section. Starting WSL environment should be successful. Done. So this time, what was the fix? So fix is this one. So sometime you have to shut down this, and then again I recreate it, and then it should work. So now this is something which we have, and my cluster is ready now with this complete detail. Now you need to spend time, we need to spend time on the namespace, node, events, workload, and all these things. So this is the kind of learnings we'll have to do now. So guys, this is one of the method which we have a cluster setup. Also, I'll try to modify this script. What went wrong in the Ubuntu? It's just what is happening nowadays. Everyone is coming up with a extra security measure, and they are implementing forcefully everywhere. So we have to do the Google and see that what fix they have given it to these changes. So they have enabled some security measures which is not working. So guys, any questions so far how to set up a Rancher desktop and how to set up a cluster using Rancher desktop? All of you? Any questions?
No, Raj.
Okay. One more thing, you might get different issues. See, I got only one issues. You might get different issues. So most of the time, this is OS level issues. You have to fix it. As you get it. There's no other workaround for it. If you go for managed one, that will be best one, but cost is added. Okay, so now what we have to do, now we are going to learn all the API services. For example, see, when you go to the AWS, what do you learn? So you learn all this, correct? So now we need to learn also in Kubernetes here. So AWS, Kubernetes. So in AWS compute, what we call it? EC2. Here we call it a pod. Here we have a EBS, S3, multiple options, right? That S3 and then what is this? EFS, right? Here you have a PV and PVC. Here networking you have, here also networking we have. Load balancers you have two kind of, here also load balancer, three types of load balancer we have. DNS also we have, ASG we have. So all these features we have it, which I'm going to show you as a demo. So now let's have one break before that, and then once we come back to the break, I'll start with all these resources. Will that be okay, all of you?
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.